Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bill Levinson, Managing Partner with Levinson and Associates. With me today, we have the Joseph Loughran, our Marketing Vice President, and our special guest speaker, Neil Wilding. So, we here at Levinson, and if you've been with us for a while, you can attest that we always stand behind these promises, and we feel that it's our job to go out there and find what's best for our agents to help them bring their practice to the next level. Okay, and if that means products, commissions, advances, lead programs, technology, websites, CRM. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Okay, whatever the case is, I feel that it's our job here at Levinson to go out and find the best resources that you can leverage. Okay, so many years ago when I first came into the business, okay, it's been now just over 20 years, so more than half my life. When I first started, IMOs were always known, okay, let's say the bigger, more successful IMOs were known to give out, let's say great products, great commissions, and great service. That was what they swore by. And if they were able to do those three things pretty well, then they were successful. Okay, well, fast forward and what happened in a very short time frame, things changed. Our industry shifted, okay? And most of the old school IMOs are not here anymore, okay? In fact, we have throughout the last about 10 years now, we acquired a couple of them. So we have seen what happens, okay? Some of these IMOs still use, old school file cabinets and rate books and yellow legal pads, and they don't have a website, they don't have CRM tools, they don't have anything. So, all of that stuff worked years ago, and the ones that did not change, right? We always talk about evolving and changing. The ones that didn't change or see the shift are no longer here, okay? And for the ones that are still around, they have downsized and right-sized, and their agent database went from, let's say 5,000 agents to now, 200, literally. And the 200 is shrinking every day. And there's no secret sauce. There's no secret recipe. And they're scratching their heads saying, well, how come there are certain agencies, and Levinson is one, that are making a larger footprint out there? And like I said, there's no secret sauce to this, okay? The reason why, very simple. Yes, you have to do those three things, but you have to bring value to your agents, right? And it's very black and white, but a contract, a good commission level, and good service is great, and it's a necessity, but it's not enough any longer, right? We all know that. Okay, if I can't help you make sales, then a 280% commission level is not going to do you any good. So we have to go out there and find what's hot, what's not, and then bring all of the good technology or products or whatever the case is to our agents to help you become more successful, okay? And that's the name of the game. That's what made us different. That's the reason why in 2017 we were rated the agent's top life annuity IMO from Insurance News Net magazine, okay? That is everything in a nutshell, okay? It sounds pretty simple, but we're the ones that are going out here to find everything for our agents. So we're making it happen. And as you can see, what we're going over today is just another one of those tools in our toolbox that our agents can leverage. So what we did is we put together an indexed universal life 1-2 punch platform, okay? And inside of this IUL platform, and all of our agents have free access to this, is a excellent portfolio of IUL carriers and products that you're going to see in a few minutes. Okay, we have our IUL software that you get to pay our co-op price. If you're licensed with us, it's a $99 a month charge. Okay, but if you're active, okay, meaning you write at least one IUL at the minimum premium a month, it's free. We pay for everything. It doesn't cost you a penny. So we're going to show you how that works in just a second. Then you leverage our scholarship platform, okay? So here you have the best products in the industry, literally. You have an IUL sales platform that's going to help you get your foot in the door and make more sales, right, at no charge if you're an active agent with us. Then you have a platform that's free to you, so you can give all of these clients and prospects a free one-year scholarship for their children or grandchildren. Then you give the $500 gift card scholarship to anyone that even talks to you about IUL. If you want to fill a room for a seminar or fill, let's say, the internet with an online webinar like we're doing now, you can give every prospect a $500 scholarship gift card, even if they don't buy from you, okay? That's going to help you get your attendance up, okay? So here, there's no more excuse to not at least look into our IUL sales platform, even if you've never. Well, if you're new to the industry, if you're on the health or property and casualty side, no problem, okay? You can now get familiar with our platform, feel comfortable enough to start selling IUL. As we know, the premiums and commissions are typically 2, 3, 4 times what an average term case is, okay? So this is the direction we all need to be heading. Even if you're already selling IUL, you're doing a great job, well, good for you, okay? With our 1-2 punch platform, once you get familiar with the scholarship platform, with the IUL sales software that Neil's going to touch on in a few minutes, you will literally double or triple your sales. And I don't want this to sound like a sales pitch and, you know, we're out there selling the latest Pepsi product, but this stuff works. And Neil's going to tell you exactly how and why, and we're going to show you some real life examples. In fact, we have an agent at the expo that literally is going to stand up and talk about how he's utilizing all of our technology and platforms and how it's changed his business. So you can hear it right from the horse's mouth. I know I'm very excited about this. We just launched this platform. This is our second training webinar. So we're also getting comfortable with the platform. We just learned about a new book that Neil rolled out called New Rules of Retirement Savings. This is an IUL book that you can literally hand out to a prospect. By the time they're done reading the book, they're ready to set up an appointment with you to discuss IUL, okay? So this stuff works. We wouldn't be sitting here wasting your time, our time, Neil's time, if we thought that it didn't work. We've had pilot agents using the platform for a while now, and as you're about to see, the proof is in the pudding here. And you, I promise, will be very happy that you at least put your toe in the water with our new 1-2 punch platform. Okay, moving forward here, we're going to talk about some of the infographics that we have put together to make your life easier. So, you know, one of the biggest pushback things that we heard from surveying our agents from last year and the prior year was, you know, you guys have great stuff to offer, but we are very confused. We don't know where to go for what. We don't know what's available anymore. There's so much stuff that it could be a little overwhelming, okay? So we made it very simple. As you can see, we put together these 3 infographics. We call it the Levinson Master Playbook, okay? On the left side, everything you need to know about marketing. Everything is itemized by number, and then you literally click on the number and it gives you a breakdown for that specific platform, or let's say it's a certain product, a carrier, technology, website, CRM. I mean, the list goes on, but everything is very simple and now itemized. And then there's even a space you can put your name in. Someone will get back to you with more information if needed. So very simple to use. Contracting in the middle. On the right side, new business. This is also great if you have a downline, okay, and they're new to Levinson. You literally email them the 3 infographics. They have every single thing that they can dream of at their fingertips in layman's terms. Very, very simple to use. These are now up and running. We're also going to explain more at the expo on Friday. Okay, so part of the 1-2 punch is the IUL carriers that we offer here at Levinson. So we've gone out and done our due diligence to hand select each carrier and product to make sure that when you're out presenting this stuff, that another agent can't walk in the door, to show a better product, better cash value, better premium, higher death benefit. You will never get outsold with what we have to offer. When you call one of our marketers here for an IUL quote, okay, if you tell them that, listen, I need to be very competitive here and show max cash value, max death benefit, best premium, they will make sure that they give you the most competitive product for that specific client so you're not embarrassed, okay? And with everything that you're looking at in front of you, that represents the most competitive IUL products in the space today. Now, these are all of our direct source carriers. So what that means is we work directly with the carrier, okay? So there's no MGAs or IMOs in the middle that take part of the commission, and by the time you get your street commission, it's literally half of what it should be by working directly with an IMO like us, okay? So just always know that in the back of your mind. That's very important. We hear stories, and I won't mention any agency names, but there's like these multi-level marketing groups now, these pyramid schemes that, you know, agents will come to us, they're on a 30% commission level, and their commission has been literally reduced by 10 ways. And they have no idea that that's not the norm, okay? And it's really unfortunate and not fair to these agents that don't know any better, okay? But you need to know by working, I don't care if it's us or another competitor of ours, but you must work with the direct IMO that reports to the carrier. If there's 4 or 5 layers in between, forget it, okay? By the time you get your commission, I don't even have to tell you anymore. It really frustrates me when we hear these nightmare stories of agents working with an upline for 10 years and their commission is literally cut in half. So long story short, those are all our direct access carriers, top IUL products in the industry. If you notice, you'll see a little red asterisk, okay? Now, what that means is that carrier has approved the scholarship company, okay? So when you're illustrating an IUL, when you're showing the great cash accumulation and look how great this looks at retirement age 65, what you can also show, let's say 10, 15 years out, if the client has children, grandchildren, niece, nephews, any blood relative, 10, 15 years out, let's say you have $60,000, $80,000 of cash value, okay, that the client can have access to. You package that in with a $40,000 scholarship, you can literally pay for a full 4-year tuition, and then after college is over with, right, your son or daughter graduated, the policy continues and you start building cash all over again. So you talk about a 1-2 punch, that is the name of the game, okay? So I'm telling you, it's worth getting your arms wrapped around this concept. So every red asterisk is a carrier that has a great IUL, that has approved the scholarship platform. The ones that don't have the asterisk are all still great companies, all A-rated or better, okay? But as you can see, the scholarship platform is not approved by them, okay? So take a quick look at that. Take a snapshot with your phone. If you need to, we'll also email everyone when we're done with today's call. We send out a thank you email, and we'll include some bullets, brochures, and everything that you need to get started. Okay, moving forward here, this is a 100-foot overview of the IUL platform that Neil's going to dive into, so I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but what you need to know is this is everything that you need when it comes to selling IUL, and he's going to dive in a little further, but we have everything across the board, including marketing material, client-friendly, agent-friendly, all of the top products, scholarship, everything that you need at your fingertips. Okay, moving forward here. Now, before I introduce Neil, he is going to be one of our keynotes at Friday's Expo here in South Florida. If you are not registered yet, okay, you have 2 days left. We're just about filled up, so I can't stress it enough. Make sure you register now as soon as this call is over. Our 2 keynotes are Neil Wilding and then the infamous Joe Ross, who is hands down the best life insurance trainer in the industry today, okay? And I want you to see me after he's done speaking, and I think that you will agree that proof, again, is in the pudding. I promise you, you're going to walk away with some great stuff. And what's neat is Neil is going to give you a bunch of sales strategies, ideas, all built around the IUL software. And then Joe Ross, it's funny because his topic is IUL sales strategies in today's world. So, of course, he's going to talk about life insurance training as a whole, but he's really going to dive deep into IUL and how you can spin it in today's world. So this is, you talk about that 1-2 punch, this is exactly that. It's going to be live at our expo on Friday, the 27th. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Neil Wilding from Stonewood Financial and our new iGenius IUL sales software. Neil?
Bill, thank you so much, and appreciate the energy and passion you bring to this business. I think we can all feed off of that. It's awesome.
Thank you.
What we're doing today is, really this is the second presentation. We did one of these trainings a few weeks ago, and we're doing the second one here. And what you're going to learn as you start to hear from us and the partnership we have with Levinson is we're all about simplifying the story and giving advisors, agents, something to differentiate themselves. Looking back, no longer can a financial advisor win business because they have the best model portfolio, or you're not going to win business because you have a guaranteed income solution. It's just every advisor in America is doing that now. And so what we here at Stonewood do is help you capture the power of IUL and use it to differentiate yourself. Delivering tax-efficient retirement income solutions is a way just to do that. I was talking to someone in our industry earlier this week, and they mentioned that they do a lot of seminar marketing, and they mentioned just by putting taxes or tax-efficient income or taxes in retirement in your seminar mailer, you will double your response rate. It is top of mind with everyone. And so as an agent in today's business, if you're able to deliver solutions that involve tax-efficient retirement income planning, you're gonna win more business than you ever have before. And the way we deliver these tools to help you do just that is through a subscription-based website. It's a membership. It's part of this iGenius platform that Bill walked through. And what's awesome is, as he said, if you're an active producer doing a certain amount of business each month, it's paid for. But the website itself, it's more than just software. It's certainly that, and it's some pretty cool software where you can go in and transform your IUL illustration into something simple. But what it really is an extension of a marketing program. It's going to give you tools to use at all aspects of the sales process. And I'm going to outline for you what that means. And then the end of that sales process, though, is where the power really hits, because we're going to help you deliver custom client reports. And instead of using that 40, 50-page illustration that is full of ledger data, it's just an absolute mess to try and to digest. Instead, let's extract what's relevant from that illustration, which is really just a handful of few numbers, and then infuse it into a storyboard document that tells just that. It tells a story, and that's what people buy from, are stories. The way that I like to outline the tools that we can deliver for you here through this partnership is through an example. And so when the client comes to see you, they have concerns. And you could probably stand at a marker board, and everything they say that they're concerned about is going to be captured really into three different categories. First and foremost, taxes. With all the change in tax legislation, it is absolutely top of mind with everyone. If you're at a dinner party, or doing more formal planning and workshop, taxes are always coming up. But let's not forget that we still, at the end of the day, a successful retirement is determined by delivering retirement income. And then finally, we have to do this in a situation where we're trying to mitigate risk. And those are the three topics. And so how is it when you can mention a solution that is going to help them lower the taxes that they pay throughout their savings career, while also increasing the amount of retirement income that they're going to have throughout their retirement? And in doing that, you would think, okay, if I'm lowering taxes and raising income, I must have to take on risk in order to do that. Well, it's just not true. We're going to be able to do this and at the same time lower the amount of assets you have at risk. That's the story. And so now let's show you how we execute on that. So for John, the sample case that I'm going to walk through here, he's 42 years old. And so let's just say he comes into your office and he's got an existing balance of $200,000 in his 401k. And that's because he's 20 years in the, into his career. So hopefully he's done a pretty good job of saving so far. But then he's also got another 25 years left before he retires. So there is a lot of future income that we can have and we can talk about as well. And really, what we're going to focus our conversation around is those future contributions. And we're going to build a story around tax diversification. Because if he were to take everything, the entire balance he has in a 401k and all of those future contributions, and it all went into a 401k, then there would be no tax diversification. It'd all be tax deferred. And what happens with that growth inside tax deferred plans, right? It's, it all builds up this huge debt to Uncle Sam that you're going to have in retirement. So what we can do is help quantify that. Now, the $200,000 already in the account, that's there. That already has its own debt that it's built up, right, to its own tax debt. But let's just focus on the future contributions. Now, at Stonewood, we've got a report that's going to help you analyze and compare two different things. First is saving in tax-deferred plans. It does provide a benefit, and that benefit is tax deferral, right? You put off paying a certain amount of taxes. And so if you come to the table with $16,000, all $16,000 goes into that account, and it continues to grow. But the challenge is there are taxes due once you start taking distributions. So all that growth is taxable. And so we've got a calculation here, very simple way to estimate the balance and what is the benefit, how much tax deferral would you get over time, and then what's the cost? What kind of taxes would you incur once you go to spend? And so if you're a Stonewood member, you just log into our site and it's going to ask you some assumptions on taxes and growth. And so in this particular example, we're looking at about a 7% growth rate and a 25% tax rate. And so if we're just looking at $16,000, and again, for the purpose of this report, we're assuming it's going into a tax-deferred plan. And so what's the benefit? Well, the benefit is you put off $92,000. Like you put off paying $92,000 in taxes. And that's why that's the benefit everyone gets. And that's why they think, oh, this is a good thing because I'm putting off paying taxes. But here's the problem. When this particular client, this example, when he goes to retire, yes, he's put off paying $92,000 in taxes. But when he goes to spend, all of those income checks that he's going to get in retirement are taxable. And so the total taxes incurred while spending is $361,000. Is that a good deal? Like you put off paying $92,000 for the right to pay $361,000? That's ridiculous. And that's terribly expensive. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will say if they're smart and they understand math, they would say, yeah. But if while I'm spending tax deferred, and if I set up a side account and put that tax deferral that I earned and put it in a side account and then let it grow, then it would be a net neutral. And that's true. But let me tell you about human behavior. How many people actually set up a side account for their tax deferral? Nobody. I've never in my career, and I've been doing this a long time, I have never talked to anyone that sets up a side account for their tax deferral to use to pay their taxes in retirement. So if you don't do that, then what happens is that $361,000 becomes debt. And it's debt that you will have to pay in retirement. And our entire savings generation is doing this. And so this report here at Stonewood, very simple, right? It's two numbers. And it's a report you can run on our software. And how about this, Mr. Client? If you're concerned about taxes, the saving just going forward, just looking at the way that you're saving today, If you put it in a tax-deferred plan, it would cost you $361,000. If you use a tax-free plan, it's $92,000. So just by choosing one option, I can save you $269,000 in taxes. Boom. You think they're hooked? Okay, so definitely they're buying into this concept without a question. You've rattled the cage. But that's just the first issue. At the end of the day, this has got to deliver income. And so again, we're looking at that $16,000 ongoing contribution throughout retirement. And so now let's do something. Let's look at the income potential and compare it to what you can get in an IUL illustration and compare that to what you would get if you just stayed in a tax-deferred plan. So let's start with a tax-deferred plan. Again, we can go into the software, make some very simple assumptions on taxes. This particular example, again, we assumed 25% and we assumed 7%, 7.06 to be exact, on the market. And we're just going to beg the question, how much income would I get if I just stayed contributing to that IRA or 401k? And so the answer is the software spits out a report for me. And assuming that 7.06 growth rate and the 25% tax rate, you would have a total contributions of $368. That's basically $16,000 a year up until a retirement age at 65. And by the time he reaches retirement, he'd have a little over $800,000. And so my software tells me that if you've got that kind of growth rate and it's worth 806 by the time you retire, if you start taking distributions at 65, you can make it last to age 100 by pulling a $41,000 check. But do you really get $41,000? No, you don't, because this is a tax-deferred account. And so what you get is more like $31,000. Now, that might not seem like much, but boy, does it sure add up over time. And so your total distributions over your savings career, and here again, we're looking at 35 years worth of distributions, you would pull out just over $1 million. And so that's pretty good, right? And so, but that's also a good market, right? We're assuming good things happening. The plan should be doing well. But now let's compare it in a market neutral environment. So I'm going to run an IUL illustration for that exact growth rate, 7.06. And I just want to look at what kind of income I could generate here. Now let me pause before I start populating any more boxes here. If you just look at those first few numbers and imagine someone they're 65 and maybe they had done both of these and they're looking at two statements. And on one statement, it's got $800,000 on it, and another statement that's got $471,000 on it. Like they're going to think, man, this qualified account really did me a service here. It's worth almost double. But the page on the left is still taxable. The page on the right has completely been immunized from taxes. And so that number on the right, since it's tax-free, when I go to cut a check in the IUL illustration, keep in mind, I ran this illustration just as an example for today's call, as conservative as possible. We ran it at 706, but I used a level death benefit. I used fixed loans. Like talk to your marketer at Levinson about how to get even more out of this illustration. But just for the point, I wanted to show you that even in its most conservative state, IUL could still deliver more annual income. And so, because when I go to cut my check from the IUL policy, taking a policy loan, that first one's $36,000. And the illustration tells me that I could take a $36,000 fixed loan and make it last to age 100. But what's nice, when I get that check in the mail, I get to keep it all. Like Uncle Sam's been immunized. They're staying away. So I get the entire check. And so, again, even in its most conservative state, we're looking at an additional, $400,000 in total income. And so not only did I save you a couple of $100,000 in taxes, I created another $400,000 in income. And this is in a market neutral environment. Both of those are assuming a growth rate of 7.06. And again, these slides here were created in PowerPoint, but they're based off of reports that you can run for yourself, customized with your logo, your name on it, your client's data, to show them exactly whether they'd be better off staying in that qualified account versus putting money into an IUL policy. I mean, these are the kind of numbers that can just jump off the page. And so not only did we save you on taxes, but we created, for this particular example, an additional $410,000 worth of retirement income. Like, if you just started your conversation with that and said, take a look, I'm going to show you a way where we're going to save you $200,000 in taxes over your lifetime, and we're going to generate another $400,000 in income, you think you might get somebody's attention? I guarantee you would. And here's the thing, though. They're probably thinking, well, yeah, in order to do that, I probably have to take a lot more risk. And so let's take a look at the risk tolerance here. And so I've got a red line here pulled up on the screen. That red line represents where most people have their money invested in 401ks. It represents the S&P 500. And that's as good an indication as any when people talk about the quote market we're looking at here. And so dating back to the year 2000, you'll see that if you had invested in the quote market, by the way, this line does include dividends, up until now, you know, we're hitting euphoric numbers on the S&P. It's rocking and rolling, and everybody's hitting record highs. But if you look back, not too long ago, it was a very different story, and it was a rocky road. You had not one, but two historically bad bear markets early on here in the savings plan. Now, yes, it's recovered to all-time highs, but if you started saving in the year 2000 and taken all the risk of the market, you would have made, on average, 5.4% a year, which that's pretty good, but you could argue you had to take a pretty significant amount of risk in order to realize that 5.4%. Now, here's the beauty. I'm not going to go into the details of how we calculate indexing, but my guess is most of you already understand this concept. If you were to apply an indexing strategy of a 0% floor, 12% cap, which is just most products that are on the slide there that Bill showed you are going to fall in that range. If you were to apply the power of indexing to that same time frame, by the way, before I even show you the number, notice because of indexing, we don't have any negative 22s. We don't have any negative 37s. We've taken risk completely off the table. And now we're giving you a 6.5%, 6.55% average annual return over the same time frame. So you show that to someone and say, hey, listen, before I even tell you anything, you want the red line where you're taking all the risk of the market and earn 540, or you want the green line where you're taking risk off the table and give you 6.5? Like they're going to show, give me the green line every day, twice on Sunday, right? And so, again, just a nice way to show how we're taking risk off the table. Now, some might say, well, that's just one point in time. What if our path is different? Well, we went back and we started looking at indexing and the history of indexing dating back to 1997, because that's when it started. And we just look at some different decades, and you'll see that most of the time, you're going to experience between 7 and 7.5% of an average credited rate, assuming that 0% floor, 12% cap. Now, there's one outlier there. From 2000 to 2009, I'll use air quotes here and say you only got 5%. But let's take a closer look at what was going on that decade. I mean, probably most of you here on the call were doing business back then. I certainly was. And I knew the market was bad because I saw people gravitate towards guarantees during this time frame. And by the way, the boom of annuities hit right at the same time. But I didn't quite realize that that particular time was the worst decade in the history of the S&P 500. It was never worse. That is the first time that that index, since it went to 500 stocks, delivered a negative return on a 10-year average. And it was negative 1% a year over that 10-year time frame. Now, this is where it goes to show you the power of indexing. If you were to apply the power of indexing to that worst decade in the history of the S&P 500, you would still have an average credited rate of 5%. And so what that does is it goes to show you that by taking risk off the table, putting in a 0% floor, even if the market throws at you the worst it has to offer, you're still going to be comfortable in your policy. And so these are some charts. Now, equal part of the story here in telling the Stonewood story is, one was those reports and the calculators and tax calculators and comparison charts, but also just having some reports that you can go grab off of our website that are static to just use to help tell that story. And so these are tools available to all members. You can just go grab those PDFs, download it from the website, and print them, laminate them, do with what you want, and you've got them there to use. So let's go back to our example here for John. And I showed you here a situation where we were able to, now again, I'm going to echo what I said earlier. The IUL illustration I ran for him was extremely conservative. And in doing that, though, we were able to lower his taxes by $269,000. We were able to increase his income by $410,000, all while lowering, mitigating risk. It's just an absolutely home run story where if you can incorporate these into your practice, it's going to do a world of difference. Now, I want to go ahead and wrap things up here pretty quickly, but there's one way where you can lose that sale before, despite how powerful the story you just told. And that's if someone gets in their ear and says, yeah, all that stuff looks good, but everyone knows that life insurance stuff is just too expensive. And it happens. And that statement is based on myth and misunderstanding, so we can dispel it, and we can dispel it easily. Because when you look back and look at the comparison of costs of other income or other retirement savings instruments, according to the Wall Street Journal, the average cost of a 401k is 1.27%. The average cost of a managed account, managed money, 2.04%. But when you try and answer that question with IUL, if you run that report from the carrier, it's a bunch of data. It's rows and rows of data. I can see why people think it's expensive because it looks expensive. The challenge is it's all front loaded. So if you buy it and stick to the plan, it's one of the best deals out there. And so we've got a report that what it does is it takes all of those dollar amounts and converts it to a weighted average, a ratio. The total fees paid each year as a ratio to the cash value, which is the same way those other numbers are calculated. And so now we've got an apples to apples comparison. And so for this particular example, again, remember, I ran this one conservative, level death benefit. So you're thinking, oh, he ran it at level. They were paying a lot for that death benefit throughout his lifetime. It's probably pretty expensive. No, the average cost for him is 68 basis points. You run increasing death benefit, you probably cut that in half. And so now what you have is a compliant way to speak to the true low cost of index universal life. And when they go to compare it and somebody gets in their ear and says, oh, that 401k or managed account would be a better deal, I don't know. My report from Stonewood says that this illustration that I put forth for you is only going to cost my client 68 basis points a year. Like that's going to stop anybody in their tracks if they're trying to get in their ear saying life insurance is expensive, because it's absolutely one of the most efficient asset classes in our business as it pertains to cost. And so how do we execute on these stories? These are all tools that we have available for you on the Stonewood website. We're going to help you tell that story. I've told it many times, so it comes naturally to me. But the reports alone aren't going to do the trick. You got to work on the story. And then, of course, the reports certainly add something to it where you can do those tax calculations, compare the results to your IUL illustration, and then overcome those objections before people even think about having them. And then the final thing that I'll mention, and Bill and I were talking about this a little bit before we jumped on the phone here, that book, The New Rules of Retirement Saving, I get emails daily from agents and financial advisors that have started to just hand that book out to their clients that are thinking about IUL. and they just walk back into the office wanting an app. I mean, it is one of the most powerful sales tools we've ever come across, and it's just a very simple story on why you would use IUL to save for retirement. It's written by an actuary, yet it has a nice casual tone where you get this fantastic blend of relatable language and and then the buy-in you get because it's authored by an actuary. And so you just get both of that, and it just delivers results after results. Now, you can buy that book on your own for $15 a copy on Amazon, but what we do is we let all the members of our program buy it at wholesale. So it's $5 a copy. It's a really cost-efficient way to go find clients. And I'll talk more about that at the expo, and we'll have samples of the book at the expo as well. But then, that's just prospecting. You got to execute when they come in your office. And so we're going to give you the tools you need to meet with clients. And then, of course, those reports help you close the business. And then the last thing, with any marketing program, if you don't go through the training, then you're just not going to become expert at it. So we provide you a whole slew of training videos. If you like to watch through reading, or you like to learn through reading, then we'll give you like annotated copies, so it'll give you a script. But a lot of people like to train with videos, and we've got those as well. We create all sorts of videos to help you become expert at what we're doing. Now, one last thing before I hand things back to our partners at Levinson. If you're thinking about, okay, this has to come at a big cost, right? Well, Bill mentioned before, it's $99 a month, and it becomes free if you're an active producer. Let me just show you this little example that I did for you. Is a $12,000 a year going into IUL. The revenue to the advisor on that is about $9,000. And so if you're looking at software that costs you, now regular price, by the way, is $198 a month. But the partnership with Levinson brings that cost down in half to $99 a month. For an annual subscription, the ROI is 7.5%, 7.5x. Now you got to write, like, one case covers everything and then some for the year. And if you can write one a month, you're looking at 90x. Like, there's no other tool out there that's going to give you that type of return on investment, especially when you throw in the fact that these guys are going to cover your costs. So really, it's a zero. It's just an incredible way to learn the story, incorporate it into your practice, and you're going to see it's going to revolutionize how you approach your client meetings and the results that you're going to see from it. So I've got the contact info here for my Levinson guys. One of the things is everyone at the firm has access to our software. So if you want to see a free report, they can run that for you. We'll give you the training you need to be able to execute on that. That way you've got a sample case that you can run, and then we'll train you so that you're going to go and you're going to see it in action, see that it's going to work, and then you can go ahead and sign up, and then it's just off to the races from there. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Bill, if you guys want to take over from here, I certainly appreciate the opportunity.
Yep, that was excellent. Great job, Neil. We appreciate it. So, real quick, Joe is going to show everyone, you have this great tool now. You have a book that's going to literally make sales for you. Now you need prospects to speak to that fall into this IUL category, if you will. So Joe is going to show you how you can go in our system and literally download 1,000 prospects that will be a perfect fit for an IUL product, okay, using our agency AUTOMATOR system, okay? So just sit tight. We're be done in about, say, 5 to 10 minutes here. Before I introduce Joe, I also want to add that if you're new with Levinson, you want to get started with the IUL software, okay, like Neil said, it's literally half off at $99 a month. As soon as you become an active agent, you're writing at least one case a month, we pay for this. So it's completely free, okay? No one else is doing this. We've been working with Neil for a while, putting together the platform, making sure all due diligence was completed. So take advantage of this, okay? It's literally at your fingertips. We're going to also give away a few copies of that great book at the expo, so I really hope to see you there. Joe's going to take it from here, and then I'll pick back up at the end in about 7 or 8 minutes, and then we'll close the call. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So real quick, I wanted to show everybody where to go to get started. And what I did here was I kind of showed a screenshot of carrylevinson.com. I'm underneath the Agent Tools tab. You'll see Indexed UL Sales Software. You can click there and request access. So you can actually fill out your information. Our marketing team will then send you all the information, the links, the discount code, everything you need to actually go ahead and get started with the software platform. Now, Bill mentioned using our Agency Automator tool to kind of develop new leads and really kind of build a client database and actually have people to talk to. So I wanted to spend just a couple minutes covering that. So if you haven't used Agency Automator, you're not familiar with it, it's basically our CRM platform, which stands for Customer Relationship Management Tool. We built this from the ground up about a year and a half ago. It's fully functional, available right now. You can actually register right on carrylevinson.com. This is really a unique tool. It does a lot of things that other software, other CRM platforms don't do. So I'll start with the first side, which is your basic CRM tool, which hosts all your clients, all your prospect data, all your policy information. Even if you're using another platform, a lot of agents come in and they say, oh, I've been using this other platform for years. No problem. We can import all the data, make sure that you're actually keeping all of your prospects in front of you and that you're keeping your name in front of all those prospects. So there's actually a built-in email marketing system. We've got about 2,300 different email templates across all different product lines, especially Index Universal Life. There are some really, really great tools you can use to keep your name in front of that client, to market IUL and really show them all the advantages of that tax-free plan that Neil just touched on. So part two of this system is a prospecting tool. So you can actually find local prospects in your area. For this example, I did a 15-mile radius of a zip code. You can actually pick a zip code or a city or a state, and it will add those zip codes to the search. You can search by age ranges. So I did 30 to 50, income brackets, net worth. You can search by all different criteria, even credit rating. So I did an income of 150,000 plus, and within just a 15-mile radius, I got a little over 3,200 prospects inside the system. So now what I can do with those 3,200 prospects is, again, this system lets you email market to every single one of those prospects. Not only does it give you their email address, it also gives you their phone number, their full physical address. So you have all the contact information for that client at your fingertips. You can actually select one of those ready to send email marketing campaigns, build in all your automated information. What's great is whenever you send out an email, it's completely designed and completely marketed and branded to you as an agent or an agency with all of your information, logos, pictures, and then you can track who opens those campaigns. You can see who opened them, when they opened them, if they clicked on any of the links inside the platform. So a very, very easy turnkey platform. In fact, at our expo on Friday, we're having an agent who's been using this platform for quite a while, kind of share some of the results in statistics, and you can choose from both the consumer database and the business owner database. So a lot of great resources here. We even came out with a new version called 2.0, which actually has a virtual assistant built into the platform, which means when you send out those emails or put together the marketing campaigns, this is like your assistant working in the background to help design all those campaigns, to even make follow-up calls to actually set appointments for you. So a really, really neat automated system. To learn more, we actually have trainings every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can actually jump on those calls and speak with the actual designer and developer of this platform to learn more. We also have a similar platform called Agency Automator Plus, which you can see on this screen here. We have training every Monday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The difference is with Automator Plus, instead of marketing to your average consumer or business owner, you're actually using it as a recruiting tool. So you're marketing to existing active agents in your state, or you can pick different criteria, but it's a great way to build and grow your downline or build your agency if you're a GA looking to do that. I do want to mention towards the bottom here briefly, we do have an upcoming training with Fidelity Life Tuesday of next week, which is at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be diving into some of their e-app platforms and products. So again, the Automator training every Tuesday and Thursday. You can go right to carrylevinson.com and you can register on the calendar for any of those upcoming training events.
Okay, good stuff, Joe. We're going to wrap up now. So our 18 Expo, again, this Friday. Hope to see you there. Please register if you have not registered yet. If you're coming in from out of town, just let us know. Send me an email. We're having a special dinner the night before for our out-of-town agents. So just give me a heads up. That would be great. And just real quick, the two keynotes again, Neil Wilding, who you just heard live on our webinar, And then, of course, on the right side, the Joe Ross, who, like I said earlier, bar none, best life insurance trainer in the industry. The goal is for this expo, okay, is so you, any of our agents, can walk away that day with new ideas, new sales strategies that you can use that afternoon to elevate your practice, okay? I don't care what industry you're in, what level you're at, what income bracket that you're in. It doesn't make a difference, okay? This expo will be catered to you, okay? If you're a third bedroom term agent or a IUL, CLU, CHFC, financial advisor, plant, doesn't make a difference. Everyone is going to walk away with a nugget of information and some great motivation that's going to change your business for the future. I promise you that, okay? That's the way it was built. That's going to be the result. And every year, the expo is getting bigger and better. We're now close to 300 agents that RSVP'd. So again, a record year, great data network. Okay, we're going to end with this. As we all know, okay, and I mentioned it earlier, I'm going to say it again, you can have the best commission in the world. You can have the best technology, tools, sales platforms in the world, okay? But if you're not in the right mindset, okay, if you're not mentally in the right place, if you don't have a good energy, what's going to happen is clients are not going to relate. They don't want to deal or work with you. So whatever it takes, just make sure you bring that right energy. You're going to hear it and learn about it and feel it at our expo on Friday, okay? I also try to get the message out on these webinars because some of you won't make the expo here in South Florida. But the point is, you got to do whatever it takes to make sure you're there. We're going to end with this. The point here is to be real, be yourself, okay? I don't care if you're speaking to one client or agent, whatever the case is, or it's 10,000, okay? When you're real and yourself, agents or prospects can feel that. They see right through it. We'll end with this Positive Tuesday quote. It doesn't matter if you're speaking to 1 or 1,000 people. Always bring your A game, and that one will turn into hundreds before you know it. With that said, have a great Positive Tuesday, a good week, and great selling. Take care.